You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail, the ultimate midlife crisis. Join Steve and his guests every week as he staggers from Georgia to Maine.
Hi guys, and thanks for coming back to, I don't even know what episode number this is, but this is the days 146 to 148. This is going to be released on Wednesday morning, and yesterday, Tuesday, we would have had episode number days number 143 to 145. I hope to gosh that makes sense. Just that we often, some people miss episodes when I release one after the other. So this particular one, you're going to be getting on Wednesday morning, and I'm recording on Tuesday, days number 146 to 148, and you'll be right up to date. And today's a pretty good episode. We've got the Wonder Women, who I've been looking forward to interviewing. They are just extraordinary women. And a young man called Griffin Hann, who can really play guitar. So let's see what happened on day number 146. Day number 146, New Hampshire Route 25A, miles 1783.4, to New Hampshire Route 25, or Glencliff, miles 1793.1, a 9.7 mile day. Just want to mention a young couple who were our hosts at Glencliff, Buffalo and Mumble. They were so friendly, such a great young couple. Just really enjoyed talking with them and just hanging out with them, and they were helpful. I love these youngsters these days. They just do what they want to do. They worked with Cirque du Soleil for a while, cooking for them, and they travel around in a van. They were just great people to spend time with, and they were great hosts to have at a place like that. And they just ran the place and ran it really well. So I just wanted to have a shout out to them, because I really enjoyed spending time at Glencliff, the Hikers Welcome Hostel. And one other thing while I remember, the Mighty Blue class of 2019 has its first finisher. Margie Mims, or Fireball, made it to Katahdin already. And I actually spent some time around her for a short period of time before she bulleted off into the distance, and she made it already. So I actually heard this on that particular day, which was Sunday, day 146 for me, and she finished already. Fantastic. And she started probably about 3 or 4 weeks after me, I guess. Now, this was the original plan of this day. As you know, I like to watch the golf. I like to watch the last 4 rounds of a major golf tournament, and the British Open, which was on. They're 5 hours ahead of the US. So I was expecting the leaders of the golf to go out at 10 a.m. in the morning American time. So the original plan was for us to leave at 5 a.m. and hike this 9 or 10 miles back to Glencliff, and be back at 10 a.m. so I could watch as the leaders went out. That would have been perfect. Watch the golf. Then we were going to move on to the Notch Hostel, which was ahead of us, and near North Woodstock, and that would have worked out perfectly. But then, typical with the Irish, they changed the times. they were expecting bad weather, so they changed the times and brought them forward. So the leaders, instead of going off as about 10 o'clock my time, were going to go off about 8:30 my time. And I just wouldn't have made it back in time. And I really wanted to see it. So I just suggested to Cushy and Trigger to go ahead and do the miles, and then they could head to the Notch Hostel, which was our next stop. And I'd do it by myself, so it wouldn't be a problem to me at all. So I think they went out around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, something like that. And I just sat there and watched the whole of the British Open on my phone, which is an unusual way to watch it, I must admit, but very enjoyable. And it was great for me to see the first time the competition's been in Ireland for 60-odd years. An Irishman, Shane Lowry, won it. And funnily enough, how about this for coincidence? The last putt went in. He got the last winning putt as Cushy and Trigger arrived back at about 1:15 in the afternoon. It was perfect, actually. So they then headed out. And I was driven by Buffalo back to the trail where Cushy's husband Rob had picked us up 2 days before. was actually just a very, very easy hike. There was just one peak above 2,000 feet, which was Mount Mist. And really, it really did feel like I was just filling in miles. I don't like to have that feeling particularly, but I was definitely just filling in miles to make sure all my miles were completed up to just beyond Mount Moosilauke. I actually finished in about 3 hours, 40 minutes, which was pretty darn good, actually. You know, I was averaging, I guess, I can't even work it out now, 2.5 miles an hour. It wasn't difficult, but it was very liberating to hike alone again. Cushy and I have discussed this a few times, how you walk with people, you make compromises. When you're by yourself, you make zero compromises. You do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it. And I found it very liberating. And at the hostel, when I got back there, I ran into the Wonder Women. And the Wonder Women are 3 women of a certain age, let's say. And I'd met them in Graymoor in New York. And I so resented, that's not true, I so regretted not speaking with them then. And so I asked them if they would mind having a chat with me. And so we went out the back and recorded. So here are the Wonder Women. Okay, I'm here with 3 ladies I've been wanting to interview now for some time. Please introduce yourselves individually.
My name is Christy.
Yeah.
And I'm Lynn.
And I'm Annette.
Have you got trail names?
As a group, we're the Wonder Women.
You are indeed the Wonder Women, yeah. And what encouraged you to do this?
Well,
knowing your why is kind of important.
Yeah. One reason was that we really know very little about the East. We're total Westerners.
All right.
Yeah. And we thought, it could be a chance to see some of these Eastern states and get to know the terrain on foot. That was definitely one of our reasons.
Are you big hikers generally?
Yes.
So you were pretty confident you'd be able to do a long distance trail?
Yes.
Yes.
Had you done one before?
We did the Colorado Trail, which is 500.
And the Oregon Coast Trail, which is about 420 miles.
And you're always the Wonder Woman, are you?
Yes.
Oh, you're right. So how have you found the East Coast? How have you found this trail particularly?
Spectacular, I think, but really difficult.
It is tough. It's the trails are different here. It's more up and down, up and down. In the West, there's more switchbacks.
Right.
A little bit more gentle.
You think? I tell you,
Really?
You've still got a whole lot to come then, I tell you.
Yeah.
So what part did you enjoy? I mean, I promise you, your highlight reel will be New Hampshire and Maine.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely promise you that. But what's been your highlight so far, individually? What's your highlight been?
The highlight as far as the terrain, or just
the terrain. Yeah. What have you enjoyed most in terms of the place?
I really liked. I thought New York was fun. And I like New Jersey, the way they did their rocks with their state parks.
All right. Yeah.
I thought that was fun. I mean, it was a little rainy while we were there. It would have been way more fun if it had been dry.
Yeah, I agree. It's something I've learned, I think, on this trip for me. The better the weather, the better you enjoy your hiking generally.
Yes, absolutely.
True. That is true.
And yet, in the last few days or last week or so, it has been ridiculously hot. How are you coping with that? Because you just came in, you look relatively fresh, actually.
Yeah.
No, we have been struggling with the heat, actually. We took a day off yesterday because it was really hot.
Right.
And today we just did 10 miles because of the heat. It's supposed to break, so we really are struggling with it. We noticed that our miles haven't been as much, and we're like, golly, we've been out here for 5 months.
Yeah.
We're struggling, but then we realized everybody around us was too.
That's right.
And so then it's the heat. It's, you're trying to drink more water, you're making sure you have water along the way. I didn't even worry about that at the beginning, but it's hard. I think it wipes you out.
It does. And we do, though, some mornings we'll start hiking at 5 or 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And at least have more cool temps, at least a longer time.
We've been talking about this the last few days, probably because the heat's been wearing us down as well. This is kind of a war of attrition, don't you think? Being away from home for 5 or 6 months is tough on everybody, isn't it? Really,
it is.
And how have you coped with that thing about being on the road for 6 months, or nearly 6 months?
I have done really well. We in our normal lives, we full-time RV, so we're always rolling around in our RVs anyway.
Right.
We travel all the time, so
it's just on foot now. So that hasn't been hard for me, but I actually have loved every minute of this hike, and hadn't even thought about the end of it until just recently.
All right, and it's right, don't you think so? When you start a 2,000-mile journey, the thought of thinking what's at the end of it is almost impossible.
Couldn't see it. I couldn't even see that Katahdin sign. It's like a brown sign.
But you can now, though.
Yeah, I can now.
Yes.
I can see it. And then there was a piece of us. We got to the 500 miles left to go, and you're like, and that's a long way, but you're just like, oh my gosh, we're almost there. And you want to take off running.
That sign is at 501.8 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, well then.
I was very aware of that. Yeah.
But you feel like, oh my gosh, we're getting here, and then you want to go really fast because you're so close, and then we had to calm down and say we're not that close. We have a long way to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to
And then
focus.
That's when the heat kind of started
Yeah.
too. So we're like, oh.
And then we started hearing about people dropping out that we've been following.
Right.
You know, Pork Chop and Mosey Mike and some of the other people that were way up there having to drop out. Or just
For
like,
injuries or
Yeah,
different
Steve and
things.
Judy, our friend Steve and Judy had to stop.
And doesn't it show you the value of luck?
Yes.
Yes.
And frankly, 3 of you going together, the odds of one of you out of 3 was likely, but of 3
Yes.
of you together still, so injury can get you at
Any
any time.
moment.
can't it?
It
Any
could.
moment.
Yeah.
It could.
Luck is huge.
And at this moment, so with less than 400 miles to go now, how do you? Because certainly in my case, when I did this first time, I was thinking, I now want the destination. It used to be the journey, then it's the destination. Is it still the journey for you, or is it the destination?
It is
now?
because we haven't done the whites. We've never been to the
Yeah.
whites.
Yeah.
So the journey of the whites is really going to be a big deal for us to enjoy
I
the
think
whites,
so,
and I want to
yeah.
enjoy it. I really want good weather.
Yeah,
I want
we're
to.
excited about seeing them.
I want to experience. So that is a chunk of miles that'll be total journey, and then also those first in Maine. That's supposed to be really hard.
Yeah.
That we'll really have to just. Our thing is to not get injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
you're
just be careful.
but I think, and this is why I've always thought this is a south to north trail, because you prepared for what you're about to hit.
Yes.
Doing Katahdin first, the 100-mile wilderness, southern
Yeah.
Maine and New Hampshire. Frankly, after that, it's a relatively whole lot easier. But we did the Moosilauke yesterday, and it was a 3,000-foot climb,
right.
Yeah.
and yet we got there. You know,
Yes,
it
that's
wasn't,
right.
Wasn't the end of the world. So just a case of one foot in front of the other.
That's right.
Right.
That's
So what do you
right.
think you guys individually are going to take out of this? What were you looking to take something out of it?
You know, our thing was to motivate older women to get out, older people.
Will you share your ages?
Yeah, I'm 55,
And I'm 62.
I'm 62.
Okay.
but we want to just kind of tell people they can set big goals,
Damn
you
right.
know, and stay moving, move forward. Life doesn't start going downhill. It doesn't have to. You know what I mean? You could do amazing
It does at
things.
66. Trust
Oh,
me.
But look what you're doing. I mean, you know.
yeah.
So
guess.
I don't know. I think it restores our faith in humankind because
Yes.
the people and the social piece of this trail has been unbelievable.
That's it.
Everybody says that. I'm glad you said it as well, though, because
Yeah.
people are so kind on the
Yes,
trail. Everybody
they
associated with the
are,
trail.
yes.
You don't meet that. I know we've had some terrible things happen this year, but you meet so many good people.
Yes.
It
You
just-
really do.
They
Yeah.
go way out of their way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
And
And
amazing
sometimes
not just
human.
people walking the trail, but the trail angel people we've met. And
Yeah.
And it's not just what they do for you; it's just like who they are. I mean, you just really have enjoyed meeting these people. Like our motto is to expand the confines of our lives
Right.
before we die. Right. So meet
Wow.
new
Good
experiences
line.
and new people. And on this trail, oh my gosh, have we
Yeah.
expanded the confines of our lives in every way? I mean, we're doing something extremely difficult. It's the hardest thing I've ever done,
Really.
but we have expanded by meeting so many
kinds of different
people that are amazing.
Wonderful people.
And I think that's one of the cool
Yeah.
things about the trail is the latitude that is given to people to be who they are. So there's not that thing of where people feel like they have to fit in a little slot.
That's right.
There's a lot of latitude. So you meet people, you know, young people who are just kind of getting an idea of themselves to the older people who are, you know, are trying to do some great fun thing for, you know, their retirement or whatever. And it's
Yeah.
everybody's accepted within that on the trail.
And
Sorry.
yeah, well, one thing I think has been an amazing experience, and Annette kind of said it the other day, like kind of following the rhythm of the trail, like being open. Like we set a goal of where we want to hike, but we're very open within that structure
Sure.
because amazing things happen that we can't even plan.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
if we're like just driven to get 2 miles, we might miss a lot of things. So amazing thing has
Yeah.
happened that our day completely changes. And that is kind of a lesson, I think, is you kind of feel the flow of the trail and what's going on, and you stay open to it, and you make kind of a plan to get you going forward, but then stay open within that plan. It's been amazing. Yeah.
I must say, one of my takeaways from 2014 was that the amazing young women out there, but it's the amazing young men and women as well. You meet some of these people who are fearless, which is a great thing to see.
Yeah. I think
And this generation, it makes you feel a whole lot better for the generation coming up. Doesn't it?
It does.
Yes, it
we
does.
have said that amongst ourselves a few times.
So when do you think you'll finish?
Good.
What date?
We're thinking, our 6-month date would be August 21st.
Okay.
But I don't know if we'll make it then. We might be maybe a week after that.
The end of August.
But you're happy with that?
Oh, yes.
That's fine.
Perfect. Well, I wish you well, and thank you so much for talking to us. I think you've been one of the star groups of the trail this year, so I'm so glad I had a chance to talk to you.
Yeah, so nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Day number 147. Kinsman Notch, mile 1802.6 to Interstate 93, or Franconia Notch, mile 1818.9, a 16.3 miles day. Now, this was a really ambitious day, and as you heard from Cushy, she's determined to get home, and she's determined to pull us along with her as well. I was kind of nervy about this one, and I'd totally forgotten how wonderful this climb really was. I knew rain was threatening. I knew it was going to be rocky. That's kind of what I remembered. And it actually started pretty early, the rain. So we knew, we were going to be on some rocks. And Mount Wolf got us warmed up by taking us up to 3,500 feet. And there were plenty of ups and downs before we started up South Kinsman. And what an amazing climb. And this is the thing I mentioned about pulling yourself up by the roots and the trees and so on. And this doesn't feel like hiking to me. It's more like climbing. Not that I've ever climbed anything other than when I've been on the AT. But really, this just feels so exhilarating. And I started pulling ahead of the others because I don't know whether I was hiking particularly well. I just thought I was going particularly well. And we were just pulling ourselves up and going from rock to rock. And I often wonder actually how some of the shorter people who do this trail manage to do it, because there are some pull-ups that frankly I was really struggling to make myself. I'm a big guy and I've got long legs and I can stretch quite well. How some people do it, I just have no idea at all. But what a climb. It was incredible. And we went past waterfalls for some of the way, and halfway up Kinsman, you suddenly drift off it to one part, and you come out, and you suddenly come out at a lake, at a pond. It's called Harrington Pond, and it's just amazing to see. You're climbing up this thing, pulling yourself up by roots and trees and rocks and handholds and stuff like that. It's really exciting stuff. And suddenly you're by a lake. I mean, how did that happen? And it just is just. I know I sound over the top, but trust me, you got to do it sometime. So that hike up Kinsman was interrupted by the pond, which we love seeing. Then we went on up again, and the rain was lighter at the top, and we were then above some clouds as well. And I won't say what I said, but there's a few curse words that came out. I mean, I'm just so excited by what I'm seeing these days, and it is difficult to put across to you without cursing. It was just an extraordinary view. They were panoramic, we could see Franconia Ridge, which we knew we'd be climbing in a day or two's time, Mount Moosilauke, and of course we could see North Kinsman. And the South and North Kinsman, they're linked by a down, then an up again. So we went on up to North Kinsman where we could look behind where we'd just been. And it's sometimes extraordinary to see how much distance you've actually travelled. And see that the whole thing has just been, you've moved a long way, and I am struggling with the words here of how to put across to you how vast this place can be and how vast the climbs can be, but we've done them. We've done these climbs down, we've done the climbs back up again. We look behind us and say, man, we've just done that. And look, we're going to do that tomorrow. It's just so exciting when you're when you're someone like me who's never done this sort of thing apart from the ones before. But, you know, in my life, that's not what I ever did, you know, and the fact that I'm now doing it for a second time, I feel so privileged to have the opportunity to do it for a second time. So from North Kinsman, we'd started going down and we decided to stop at Lonesome Lake Hut. And Lonesome Lake Hut is one of the AMC huts where day hikers generally come and pay about $140, $150 for a bunk and food, which is nice. There's no electricity, there's no Wi-Fi. It's just getting away from it, I guess. And in the hut, we were able to buy some lemonade and some hot soup, which was a nice little interruption. And down from Lonesome Lake Hut, I got so much resonance from my hike in 2014, because it was down just past the hut that I saw a moose on the trail in 2014, and I actually filmed it. And I kept saying, I think it was here. I think it was here. I was wrong, obviously, every time, I'm sure. And once again, also 3 days out of 3 hiking with Cushy, fall number 24. And this was my worst fall so far. I slipped on something. Normally, when I slip on something, I go down relatively slowly. I went down really fast, and I fell forward, and I banged the heck out of my knee and my shin. And my knee started. I cut my pant leg at the knee, and it started. And I didn't realise at the time. It didn't look like it was bleeding. I looked down, and the knee was. The blood has soaked through the knee and into my pants, and it was uncomfortable, and I got a big lump on my shin. But, you know, once again, wasn't dead. There's nothing I could do about it. I could walk, so I just shouted out number 24 and carried on. And when I got back to the hostel, the Notch, I had a shower, and they had some rubbing alcohol there, which I put on my knee. Oh dear, that hurt. And then I covered it up with a Band-Aid, so it was fine. But it was a terrific day. It was ambitious, and say Cushy really wants to get us there. But it was a wonderful day, and I tell you, I loved it. I absolutely loved going across from Kinsman Notch. But that's the end of day number 147. Day number 148. Which is a Tuesday, and I'm actually recording this before it happens, but some of it's happened already. Franconia Notch, mile 1818.9 to Liberty Springs Campsite, mile 1821.5 at just a 2.6 mile day. I'm recording it because I think it's pretty confident that Trigger and I can make a 2.6 mile day, and Cush is going somewhere else, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So we planned this Nero. The idea is, the weather's bad now, it's raining now, although I think it may just be stopping now. And for the next 3 or 4, maybe 5 days, we're going to get lovely sunny weather, which will allow us to see everything in great weather. And Cushy has done this section quite often. So we're going to meet, she's going to stay at a hut tonight, and we're going to meet her tomorrow morning. She's going to miss this little part. She may make it up later. Maybe she won't, I don't know. So we were just chatting and planning the next few days, and it seemed sensible to come to Liberty Springs Campsite and then start out from there tomorrow. It gets a lot of the climb out of the way up to Franconia Ridge, and we can then really enjoy the day tomorrow in the lovely sunny weather. Well, that's the plan anyway. So we're chatting at the table in the Notch hostel, and we heard a young man quietly plucking a guitar. And because I love having music on the show, I asked him if he'd mind being recorded. So listen to this. This is Griffin Han. 2.
Mama Pajama rolled out of bed and she ran to the police station. Papa found out, he began to shout and started the investigation. It was against the law, it was against the law. But what your mama saw, it was against the law. Well, mama looked down and spit on the ground every time your name gets mentioned. And Papa said, oh, if I get that boy, we're gonna stick him in the house detention. Well, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way. Taking my time, but I don't know where. Goodbye, Rosie, Queen of Corona. Said me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Said me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Couple of days are gonna take me away, but the press set the story leak. And then the radical priest come and take me away. It was all on the cover of Newsweek. Well, I'm on my way. I don't know where I'm going. I'm on my way. I'm taking my time, but I don't know where. Goodbye, Rosie, Queen of Corona. Send me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Send me and Julio down by the schoolyard. Send me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.
Played.
Well, how about that? He was really good, wasn't he? And he's played other stuff as well. Really, really enjoyed it, listening to him. He was just kind of unself-consciously playing it. And I think, when I asked him if he'd mind playing, he said, yeah, sure. He's done some performing before. So it was just great to hear that sort of thing. These young guys are great. He's with another friend. They're both Canadians, and I think they just came here to do a day hike, but they've enjoyed being here and just hanging out with hikers. So that's really all I can say about day number 148. We're going to be heading out soon for lunch, and then Trig and I will head off up this 2.5 miles. Let's say we're pretty sure we can make a 2.5 mile climb in a couple of hours, but you never know, do you? So unless anything changed, that would be the end of today, which was day number 148. So hopefully you're now right up to date. Remember, the show yesterday was for 143, 145. We're now up to 148. And we are well into the White Mountains now. And by the time you hear this on Wednesday morning, hopefully Trigger and I would have got to Liberty Springs campsite, and we're getting ready for a beautiful day on the top of Franconia Ridge. I really can't wait, honestly. And I'm looking forward to telling you about it. I found that this area of the country is becoming more and more remote, so it's more difficult to get some of these things out. But I think I want you to feel from me the excitement I'm getting as I'm getting close to the Katahdin. We're under 400 miles to go. This is really the culmination of another big effort. And, with these wonderful things still to see, I just can't wait. I'll see you next time.